Hello, welcome to La Excellence. Welcome to La Excellence Prelims Marathon session. In this series, we have already recorded few videos on important diseases, important policies, important statutory constitutional bodies, important GI tags, etc. In this session, we are going to discuss 10 important disasters in news. As you know, this is specific program for UPSC Prelims 2020. Now let us start the session with the list of topics. These are the 10 important disasters that are in news: cyclones, landslides, floods, earthquakes, forest fires, locust swarm, chemical accidents or chemical disasters, oil spills, biological hazards, and then air accidents. Let us first start with the issue cyclones in news. Before getting into this topic, first let me tell you a few things. One, we need to know the basics first. That means we need to know the geography basics. What is the meaning of cyclone? What are the conditions for the formation of cyclone? If we are reading floods, what is the meaning of flood? What are the types of floods? Likewise, we need to know certain basics. Then only we can understand the topics of disaster management clearly. Now, let's start with this. Cyclones. What is the meaning of cyclone? In this case, we are considering tropical cyclone. What is the meaning of tropical cyclone? It is a low pressure system. Tropical cyclone is a low pressure system which is associated with heavy rainfall and winds. That's the definition of cyclone. Now, we need to know how the cyclones, especially the tropical cyclones, forms. What are the conditions? Average 26 degrees Celsius temperatures till the depth of 60 meters. Horizontal pressure gradient should be more, but the vertical pressure gradient should be less. And then Coriolis force should be present. That's why only in the areas where Coriolis force is present, there only tropical cyclones are formed. If you take equators, 5 degrees north and 5 degrees south, as the Coriolis force is absent, near the equator there are no tropical cyclones. We need to know other things like in northern hemisphere, tropical cyclones move in anti-clockwise direction. In southern hemisphere, cyclones move in clockwise direction. And in general, in northern hemisphere, they move in from east to west. Tropical cyclones move in from east to west in the northern hemisphere. That is, as we that is India is in northern hemisphere, tropical cyclones move from east to west. Here we need to know the worldwide terminology of cyclones. Cyclones are called with different names in different regions. Typhoons in China Sea and Pacific Ocean. Hurricanes in West Indian Islands and Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. Tornadoes in Guinea Highlands and West Africa and Southern USA. Willies in Northwest Australia. Tropical cyclones in the Indian Ocean region. This can be a prelims question, please remember. And now, sometimes when we read about cyclones, we often hear about cyclonic storm, super cyclone, severe cyclonic storm. These are the names that we generally hear. What is the meaning of them? Yes, it is a cyclone. But based on the wind speed, cyclones are differentiated into various types. Low pressure system, depression, deep depression, cyclonic storm, severe cyclonic storm, and super cyclone. Super cyclone means the wind speed should be more than 221 kmph. Then only we call a cyclone as super cyclone. For example, cyclone Umpun. That's a super cyclone because the wind speed is more than 221 kmph. So this is the vulnerability map of India for cyclones. Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea. So we said on both these sides cyclones can be formed. If the cyclone is formed in this direction, it moves like this. If cyclone forms here, it moves like this. But how come Gujarat and state of Maharashtra receive cyclonic rainfall? If the cyclone forms over Arabian Sea, moves in this direction as per our logic, east to west, yes or no? How come they move in this direction? It is because of this phenomenon called recurving of cyclone. Remember this word, recurve of the cyclone leads to the cyclonic rainfall in Gujarat and Maharashtra, even here. For the northeastern region and Bangladesh, they receive cyclonic rainfall due to recurving of the cyclone due to the wind shift. Pressure belts, wind direction shifts. Yes or no? So because of that, recurving happens. Recurving leads to this cyclonic rainfall in Gujarat, Maharashtra on the Arabian side, and northeastern states and Bangladesh in the Bay of Bengal side. There's one more important fact that we need to remember. If we compare Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, the intensity of cyclones is more in Bay of Bengal compared to Arabian Sea. And the number of cyclone forms over these two surfaces is also different, 1:4. That means Bay of Bengal region experiences more number of cyclones and with more intensity. You need to find out why this is more because of various reasons. See, we have the notes, PDF notes available for disaster management. If you type La Excellence Disaster Management Notes in Google, you get a link. Try to download the PDF and try to read some of the issues related to cyclones and other disasters. Now let us understand how cyclones are named. You might have heard about the name Cyclone Umpun, Cyclone Bulbul, Cyclone Kyarr. Yes or no? Yes. What are all these names? These are the names given to various cyclones formed over a period of time. We have International Meteorological Organization IMO. This organization coordinates the naming of cyclones in various regions. Cyclonic regions, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, in all these areas where we have the tropical waters, their cyclones are common. So in each region, to give the names, there are certain groups. And now India is in Northern Indian Ocean group. Northern Indian Ocean group earlier had 8 countries. These are the 8 countries. These were the 8 countries that we had under Northern Indian Ocean. Each used to give certain names. These are the names given to each cyclone based on the chronological order. For example, Kyarr. The next disaster or next cyclone is given the name Maha. The next is given Bulbul. Likewise, they give the name. Now, the number of countries in the Northern Indian Ocean cyclonic names list has changed. What is that? There are 13 countries now in the Northern Indian Ocean tropical cyclone list. Starting from Bangladesh to Yemen, we have 13 countries, Nisarga, Gati. These are the 2 names that are already given to various cyclones formed recently. And the next cyclone that comes up in the Indian Ocean region will be given the name Nivar. The name is suggested by Iran. So likewise, they go like this on an order. By the way, why do we need to name the cyclones? Because it generates the awareness. Because the cyclone can be traced easily. So if we have the name, disseminating information would be easy. Coordination among the people becomes easy. For that purpose, we name these cyclones. Next, let us understand the important cyclones that were in use. Cyclone Nisarga. So we need to remember where is the origin place of this cyclone, who has given the name, which areas got impacted, that much we should know. Cyclone Nisarga was formed as a deep depression in Arabian Sea. The name was given by Nisarga, just now we have seen. Nisarga, name was given by Bangladesh. Maharashtra and Gujarat, these are the two states that got impacted because of this cyclone Nisarga. Cyclone Umpun. It is pronounced as Amphan, but the name is given by Thailand. In Thai, this word is pronounced as Umpun. So Cyclone Umpun is a super cyclone formed over Bay of Bengal. This is the first super cyclone in this century, that is in the 21st century. The last cyclone of this intensity was in 1999, that is super cyclone of Odisha. Right, this impacted West Bengal, Odisha and other eastern Indian states. Now, the next important cyclone that is in news is Cyclone Kyarr. Cyclone Kyarr is formed over Arabian Sea, and this has impacted the country of Oman. Oman got impacted. In the last 12 years, this is the most intense super cyclone that was formed over Arabian Sea. This is also a super cyclone. What is the meaning of super cyclone? The wind speed is more than 221 kmph. And the name of this is given by the country Myanmar. As Umpun is very important because it has led to heavy destruction to the states of Odisha, West Bengal, etc. That's why we need to know about it. There is a chance of asking either Cyclone Kyarr or Cyclone Umpun. That's why you need to know about them carefully. Cyclone Kyarr was the super cyclone that impacted in 2019 and Cyclone Amphan in 2020. So try to go through this once. The next important cyclones that were in news are Cyclone Maha. Cyclone Maha is a depression that was developed in the Arabian Sea, southernmost part of India. The name was given by Oman. It is centered over Lakshadweep and it has impacted Lakshadweep and other places. It has impacted Maldivian area, Maldives and our Lakshadweep part of it. The next important is Cyclone Vayu. Cyclone Vayu name is given by India. It has impacted the state of Gujarat. It's formed over Arabian Sea. The next important cyclone is Cyclone Hikka. Cyclone Hikka was a deep depression that was formed over Arabian Sea. This has impacted the state of Gujarat. Now the name was given by the country Maldives. Hikka has impacted the coast of Oman and it is near to the port Dukum. Why this port is important? Why have I mentioned it specifically? Dukum port, India has access to this. That's why this is important. See, this can be a question. If you see the list of cyclones that we just finished, you will observe that there are many cyclones that are formed over Arabian Sea as compared to Bay of Bengal. Just now I have told that Bay of Bengal region experiences more cyclones and more intense cyclones. But if you observe this list, most of the cyclones were formed in Arabian Sea. Why? There are many reasons, including this phenomena called IOD, Indian Ocean Dipole. We are going to learn about it in next few minutes. The next important disaster that is in news is landslides, Idukki landslides, Kodagu landslides. Likewise, there are many landslides that are in news. Right. What is the meaning of landslides? Land sliding down along the slope under the influence of gravity. Yes or no? That is called as landslides. Landslides are of various types. Mudslides. Likewise, there are many types of landslides. The upper part of the area from which land slips is called as crown, and the area where the soil gets deposited is called foot region, and the edge of this is called toe region. We need to know these terms, right? We need to know the definition, we need to know these terms, we need to know the types of landslides. Right, let us understand the vulnerability map of landslides in India. Here, see, AP and Telangana got divided, Jammu and Kashmir divided. So this is an old map given in NDMA website. As this is the official one, I have taken it, NDMA. Right, if you observe, 12.6% of land area comes under landslide hazard zone. Western Ghats region, Konkan Hills, Eastern Ghats region, all these are prone to landslides. This is Western Ghats region, Eastern Ghats region, and then Himalayan states. If you observe, highly affected areas, these darker areas are highly affected areas. Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and other northeastern states are part of this. What are these? These are Himalayan states. In Himalayas, earthquakes are very frequent, and then Himalayas are made up of sedimentary rock, because of which landslides are more frequent in these states. And with regard to Western Ghats region is experiencing faster developmental activity, infrastructural activity, because of which slope cutting and hill development has become a common phenomenon. Because of these two things, in Western Ghats region also, landslides have become very common, that too on the windward side. What is the meaning of windward side? So this is the direction of southwest monsoon, windward side. And the opposite side is leeward side. Leeward side receives very less rainfall, so landslides are often associated with heavy rainfall. So this side, windward side, experiences high intense landslides. And other regions, they experience landslides because of mining and other activities. Landslides can be caused due to natural reasons as well as man-made reasons. Mining is one of the important reasons. Now let us see the list. Idukki landslide. Idukki is in Kerala. Kerala is experiencing consecutive floods in the last 3 years. Yes or no? 2018 floods, 2019 floods, and this year also, Kerala has experienced heavy rainfall that led to floods. This incessant rainfall and flooding, this has led to heavy landslide in the area of Idukki. Very, very important here. Because of the developmental activity, because of the unregulated development in the hill areas, that has led to landslides. The next important landslide is Kodagu. Kodagu is a place in Karnataka. This is called as Scotland of India. It is one of the major tourist attractions. This is also part of Western Ghats region, and this has, because of heavy tourist activity, etc., it has led to ecological destruction, and due to the heavy rainfall and flooding, this region recently has experienced a heavy landslide. Chamoli landslides. Very, very important. Chamoli is in the state of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is known for its landslides, heavy landslides. But in the recent years, Uttarakhand has taken many measures, including use of technologies such as UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, in mapping the vulnerability zone for landslides. In that way, Uttarakhand is able to reduce the impact of landslides. But then, as the state is in Himalayas, vulnerable area, landslides are very frequent in that state. Among all the three, Idukki landslide is very important because this has been reported heavily and the loss was very huge. See, this is the alignment of Western Ghats in the state of Kerala. See, in Kerala, the Western Ghats lie to the east of the state. This is the eastern side of the state. Western Ghats lie to the east of the state, and Idukki comes under this Western Ghats region, as we said, due to heavy rainfall. See here, August 1st to 3rd, 4th and August 7th. Heavy rainfall has been reported, because of which it has led to heavy landslide. There are certain terms that we should know with regard to these disasters. For that, we need to take the help of Disaster Management Act. Disaster Management Act 2005 has brought in certain institutions at central level, state level and district level. Let us see. For policy making, we have NDMA, that is National Disaster Management Authority, SDMA, that is State Disaster Management Authority, DDMA, that is District Disaster Management Authority. NDMA is headed by our Prime Minister. DDMA is headed by the respective state's Chief Minister. SDMA. DDMA is headed by the District Magistrate or the Collector of the district. Implementation. For the implementation, we have executive committees. National Executive Committee at the central level, State Executive Committee at the state level. Here DDMA, that is District Disaster Management Authority, acts as an implementation body also. For funding, we have categorized it into two types. One, the immediate funding required, that comes under National Disaster Response Fund, that comes under NEC, and the long-term fund for mitigation, National Disaster Mitigation Fund, that comes under NDMA. Similarly, State Disaster Response Fund, State Disaster Response Fund comes under SEC. State Disaster Mitigation Fund comes under SDMA. Here there is no specific funding. Funding from this SDRF and SDMA are used by the DDMA. What about personnel? We have NDRF, National Disaster Response Force. This is one of the important trained specialized force. We have 13 battalions stationed across the country based on the vulnerability. For example, cyclone threat is more over the eastern states and southeastern states, because of which in the coastal areas these battalions are placed and they are trained to rescue the people during the cyclone situations. Similarly, chemical accidents, floods, etc. For all these things, these people are trained. NDRF is recruited from paramilitary forces, and these are trained for protecting and rescuing people based on the threat. Right, we just understood what is NDRF. NDRF is National Disaster Response Force. This response force comes under NDMA, and in turn NDMA is headed by Prime Minister. Here we should know about one thing. With regard to funding, there are certain discrepancies. Some states say that Yes, the disaster is very huge, but the central government did not recognize it as a national disaster, because of which we are receiving less fund. Such kinds of complaints are there. Why those kinds of complaints are there? Because there is no existing mechanism which defines which is state disaster, which is a national disaster. That is the problem. If it is a state disaster, fund from SDRF, State Disaster Response Force, is used. If it is national level disaster or national disaster, fund from SDRF, additionally funding from NDRF, National Disaster Response Fund, would be given. But who decides which is a national disaster? It is the government. Central government decides which is a national disaster. That's why it is a political issue. But remember one thing over here. This SDRF, that is State Disaster Response Fund, this is contributed together by center and state. Central and state governments. For normal states, it is 75% from the central government, 25% from the state government. For the special category states, it is 90% from the central government, 10% from the state governments. Right? So this is one of the issues. So if the prelims question says, defining the national, which constitutes national disaster is defined under Disaster Management Act, that statement becomes incorrect. Remember that. Next, there is this particular survey or mapping done by Geological Survey of India, GSI, National Landslide Susceptibility Mapping. This is the mapping exercise by this, which comes under Ministry of Earth Sciences. And this maps the vulnerability zones for landslides. Which areas are vulnerable for landslides? In such context, they said Western Ghats is becoming more and more vulnerable for the landslides. Earlier, Himalayan states are considered most vulnerable for landslides, but now the Western Ghats states are no less vulnerable. That is the conclusion of GSI's this survey, National Landslide Susceptibility Mapping. The next important disaster that is in news is floods. What is the meaning of flood? Overflow of the water from a channel or a water body is called as floods. So these are the areas which experience heavy flooding. Western region, our northern region, coastal regions, and the areas where rivers are there, Brahmaputra, here Indus. So wherever major rivers are there we are experiencing floods. Here on this side, small rivers are there, Western Ghats, small rivers are there. These are west flowing rivers. These rivers also experience floods, west flowing rivers. Now let us understand which regions experienced flooding in the recent months. These are the three important areas where we have experienced floods in the recent months. Here we need to remember one important point, that is, during the southwest monsoon, India receives the highest rainfall. Within 2 months or 3 months, India receives the rainfall for the year. So that's why during southwest monsoon, flooding is common over many regions. So northern Indian rivers, Brahmaputra river, in Kerala there are many rivers. These rivers are experiencing floods during southwest monsoon. So let us see northern Indian floods, Bihar, UP. These regions experienced floods. Yes or no? Brahmaputra, Assam. Every year Assam experiences floods because of Brahmaputra river and its tributary. Northern Indian floods are mainly due to Ganga river and its tributary. Especially if you see Bihar, Kosi river flooding is one of the major reasons for the Bihar floods. Kerala floods. Kerala we have many rivers. Idukki is one of the river. Idukki river and overflowing of Idukki river is one of the reasons for floods in Kerala. In the last 3 years, it is experiencing heavy rainfall. Within very few days, it is receiving heavy rainfall. That is one of the reasons for floods over there. Apart from them, there are many flash floods, especially in cities like Mumbai. Flash floods have become very common phenomena. Mumbai, recently in the city of Hyderabad, we have experienced heavy rainfall and associated flooding. So in urban areas, we are experiencing flash floods, and in other areas, for example, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, all these states we have experienced flooding. Yes or no? So we just need to go through the geographical location of them, tributaries of those rivers. That would be enough for this. But remember one thing over here. What is that? Global warming is one of the primary causes for increasing intensity of floods and droughts in India. Yes or no? Same year floods, the same year drought. Drought and floods are now have become a very common feature and they are coexisting within a particular period. That's the irony of it. So flooding in coastal cities is one of the impact of global warming. Increase in the intensity of tropical cyclone, decrease in the seafood due to acidification of ocean. These are all the impacts of global warming. One of the impacts is flooding, right? Do you know this term called El Nino? This is very, very important. El Nino year in general, India experiences drought or very less rainfall. During the normal year, the Peruvian current is strong. During the El Nino year, Peruvian current is weaker. So please go through this in detail from your geography. This is very, very important. El Nino and its impact over the climatic regions across the world. Please read that carefully. The next important disaster that is in news is earthquakes. Earthquakes in news. What is the meaning of earthquake? Earthquake is the sudden shaking of the Earth's surface due to the sudden release of energy from the interior of the Earth. The point from where this release of energy happens is called focus, and the vertical point over the surface of the Earth is called epicenter. Epicenter and focus. These two are important words, we should know them. As we just said, focus is the point from where earthquake waves called as seismic waves originate. Seismic waves are of various types. Primary waves, secondary waves. So we need to know what are primary waves, what are secondary waves, what are the types of primary waves, what are the types of secondary waves. Likewise, we need to know about them. Please go through your geography textbook and read about types of earthquakes, measuring the earthquake. We have Richter scale, we have Mercalli scale. One is used for intensity, the other one is used for magnitude, right? Right. Now let us see in which of the regions we have experienced earthquakes recently. One is Delhi earthquake, second one is Mizoram earthquake. Delhi earthquake is in very much news. That's our national capital region. So small earthquakes of almost 20 small earthquakes have recorded since April 12. So that's why people thought there might be a high intensity earthquake that might hit this region. But that didn't happen. These are all medium and small intense earthquakes that have reached this particular region. Epicenter of the earthquake was 60 kilometers southwest of Gurgaon part of Haryana, Gurgaon. Right, the strong tremors were felt in Delhi, and as you know, Delhi is most populous union territory. So population density is more. So in case of any vulnerability or in case of any disaster like this, the loss to the life, loss to the economy would be more. Yes or no? And we need to know in which zone Delhi is located. Delhi is located in zone 4. What is this zone 4? Let us try to learn it in few minutes. Now let us see Mizoram earthquake. Mizoram is a northeastern state. In Richter scale, 5.3 is the magnitude. Epicenter was at Chamoli district of Mizoram. This is located near the Indo-Myanmar border. Remember, Indo-Myanmar border has plate convergence, yes or no? Indian plate, Eurasian plate convergence is there. So that forms the plate boundary. That's why here also Delhi is located near to the Himalayas. Not very near, but near to the Himalayan states. So that's why it is located in zone 4. Mizoram is located in zone 5, that is high intense earthquake zone. Let us see what are these zones. We have Geological Survey of India. It has surveyed the breadth and length of India for the vulnerability of earthquakes, and it has divided India into 5 zones. Zone 5, Zone 4, Zone 3 and Zone 2. Zone 5 is highest seismic zone. Zone 4 is high seismic zone. Zone 3 is moderate. Zone 2 is least. See here, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, northeastern states. Here, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, part of Jammu and Kashmir. These states are part of Zone 5. Here we have Bhuj region, our Gujarat region. This forms the boundary between the Arabian plate and Indian plate. That's why here also there is a subduction zone. That's why this region also comes under Zone 5. And then Zone 4. If you observe here, Delhi, right here, Delhi region. So Delhi comes under zone 4. Zone 4 is the adjacent region beside zone 5, and zone 3, zone 2 likewise. Earlier we had zone 1, which means no impact of earthquakes, but now we have removed it. Now we have experienced many many earthquakes even in the Deccan Peninsula. That's why we said no zone is immune to earthquakes. That's why zone 1 category has been removed. We have only 4 zones now, zone 5, 4, 3, 2. Right. The next important disasters that are in news are forest fires. California forest fires, Australian forest fires, Amazon forest fires, and in India, Bandipur forest fires. These are all the issues that are in news. Let us see. What is forest fires? Forest fire is a fire which impacts the forest region, which impacts the wildlife, and which in general is uncontrollable over a short period of time. That is called as forest fires. Forest fires are caused due to natural reasons as well as man-made reasons. Natural reasons are mentioned over here. Man-made reasons are mentioned over here. Lightning, etc. that leads to forest fires. Man-made reasons, mining, burning of cigarettes, etc. and leaving them like that in the forest region leads to forest fires. And what are the impacts? There are many socio-economic impacts, negative impacts. There are many environmental impacts, environmental positive and negative impacts, because forest fires sometimes are needed for the ecological balance. But most of the times, unsustainable exploitation of forest resources leads to high forest fires, which is not good for the ecology and economy. So in general, forest fires leaves huge smoke that leads to black carbon, CO2. These are all what? These are all greenhouse gases, yes or no? So this can lead to global warming. Forest fires can lead to global warming. These are the important forest fires that are in news. Australian forest fire that has happened in this year, January 2020. Amazon forest fires last year, 2019, is the worst year. This year also there are incidences of forest fires, but last year is the worst year. Californian forest fire, this is happening now, that is September 2020. So let us understand each one of them individually. The first one is Australian forest fire. Australian forest fires have burnt 12 million hectares of land. 12 million acres of land. Huge, very huge. Compared to the Siberian wildfires of 2019, Amazon wildfires of 2019, Californian wildfires of 2018, Australian wildfires are huge. Australian wildfires are also called as bushfires. So they call their forests as bush. So that's why bushfires, right? This has impacted lakhs of wild animals and the indigenous people living in the forest regions. This has led to pollution. You might have seen various news articles on this, yes or no? What might be the reason? What has caused this high intense forest fires in the region? There is a term called Southern Annular Mode. Similar to our El Nino, similar to our Indian Ocean Dipole, we have this phenomenon called Southern Annular Mode. This Southern Annular Mode is the wind system which moves up and down in the subtropical region. So this one, when it is positive, it leads to less rainfall in the eastern region, which can lead to forest fires. So please go through it in detail in your geography. This is the infographic on Southern Annular Mode in Australia. Please go through it carefully. There are 3 phases: positive, neutral and negative. It can be a potential geography question also. That is why I am repeatedly telling you to go through it carefully. The next important forest fires are recorded in Amazon rainforest. Rainforest, remember the word. Rainforest means, in general, every evening they receive the rainfall. Yes or no? Thick, broad-leaved, more moisture. These are all the characteristics. That means rainforest should not come under heavy forest fires like this one. But these are all the man-made activities. We are clearing these forests for timber. We are clearing these forests for agricultural land. So that's why these have become very common now. But Amazon rainforests are very, very important ecologically and economically, culturally. 20% of oxygen, 20% of Earth's oxygen is produced in Amazon rainforest. That's why these are called lungs of the world. Lungs of the world. When these forest fires were there, this was called as fire of the lungs, right? So this spans across 8 countries, 8 developing countries, 1.4 billion acres of dense forest, and it consists of half of the planet's tropical rainforest. Amazon rainforests are one of the fast disappearing rainforests in the world. African rainforests are the second, but Amazon is the first one. So due to many economic compulsions, many activities, mining activity, etc., these are all leading to destruction of Amazon rainforests. The next important forest fire is Californian forest fire. This is happening currently. California is on the western margin of USA. So nearby there is this current called Californian current. This is a cold current. When there is a cold current nearby, in general, there will be drought because moisture content, moisture holding capacity of cold ocean current is very less, because of which our cloud formation would be less. That's why the region is dry. Added to that, global warming, climate change, these things have led to forest fires, heavy forest fires in these regions. In India, Bandipur forest fires. This is in news. In Uttarakhand, there are forest fires. In Northeast, there are frequent forest fires. But Bandipur is one of the important one because it is one of the ecologically sensitive zone. It is a tiger reserve. It is a national park. In these forests, if there is any forest fire, that directly impacts the wildlife over there. Yes or no? So this Bandipur, here if you observe Bandipur region, Mudumalai is nearby. Mudumalai is also a national park. So if there is a forest fire, it impacts this one. Yes or no? This Bandipur region is part of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Very, very important. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve consists of Arlam National Park, Mudumalai National Park, Mukurti National Park, Nagarhole National Park, Bandipur, Silent Valley National Parks. Along with them, there are 2 wildlife sanctuaries located in NBR, that is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. One is Wayanad Biosphere Reserve. Second one is Satyamangalam Biosphere Reserve. Here we need to remember one thing. Yes, these are located in the states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. True. But see, this is the Western Ghats. Bandipur Tiger Reserve, these are located on this side. Few, like Silent Valley is located on this side, that is the windward side of our Western Ghats. But Bandipur is on the leeward side of the Western Ghats. That means rainfall is less. There we experience dry deciduous forests. That is why these regions are famous for tigers. Dry deciduous forests. Rainfall is less, especially during summer. When there is more fuel, that is when there is more firewood fuel, it leads to forest fires in these regions. We need to remember these things. Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary is located in Tamil Nadu. So what are the important animals located there? What is the vegetation type? Right? Please go through this. Mukurti National Park again is in Tamil Nadu region. Sholas, very, very important. Have you seen this word? Shola forest. Shola forest is in Nilgiris. Sholas is a typical forest where moist deciduous forests are located over here. Bandipur, eastern part of this convergence of eastern and western Ghats. There Bandipur National Park is located. Moist deciduous to scrub forests. These are the important animals over there. Nagarhole National Park is also called as Rajiv Gandhi National Park. It is part of Karnataka, Kodagu, we just seen, right? Landslides. This consists of deciduous forests with swamp. These are the important animals over there. Wayanad is part of Kerala. This is moist, dry, deciduous forest. Silent Valley National Park, very, very important. Flying squirrel is important animal of this particular national park. Silent Valley National Park. Evergreen forest. That means Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve consists of various biomes. various types, dry deciduous to moist deciduous to evergreen forests. This is the India's vulnerability map for forest fires. Uttarakhand and other Himalayan regions, northeastern region here because of the shifting cultivation, central India and eastern India because of mining, shifting cultivation, etc. This is western Ghats region, eastern Ghats region because of the dry deciduous forests, especially Seshachalam hills, etc. They are prone to forest fires. The next important disaster that is in news is locust swarm. What is this? Locust. Locust is considered one of the oldest migratory pests in the world. So locust forms swarm. Swarm means group. Swarms means group of adults, and then they feed on the standing crops and plants. That's why it is very dangerous. Recently we have experienced this locust swarm, and they have impacted the agricultural fields of Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh. And United States have termed it as worst in 26 years. Worst in the last 26 years. There are various types of locusts that are existing. This is the life cycle of desert locust that is very famous, and this is what we have experienced. If it is solitary, that's not a problem. If it becomes gregarious growth stage, then only it forms as a group or bands of locusts that leads to agricultural damage, etc. In gregarious state only our locusts cause the damage. That we need to remember. See, the recent locust swarm is from this region, East African region to Arabian Peninsula and then to India. Here we need to know why this locust swarm has become a major problem. That is because of the heavy rainfall in these regions, Arabian Peninsula region, East African region. So we need to know why. Why is there a heavy rainfall? In general, they receive less rainfall. But why is there heavy rainfall, unseasonal rainfall? It is because of the positive Indian Ocean dipole. Positive Indian Ocean dipole, and then there are many cyclones recently. Just now we have read about the various types of cyclones that are originating from this Arabian Sea and that are impacting these regions. Yes or no? So cyclones are increasing and their intensity is increasing. Indian Ocean dipole positive phase is there, because of which there is heavy rainfall in this region. Here there is a grassland called as Saheli. Saheli in Africa, the edge between the Saharan desert and then the tropical rainforest is called Saheli. So in these Saheli regions, they are getting enough fodder. They are migrating from this region to this region and from there to here. In India, we have Locust Warning Organization. It works closely with Pakistan's Locust Warning Organization. They generally take the measures to curb the migration of these locust swarms. But because of this COVID-19, etc., these measures, control measures were weak, because of which invasion or the spread of locust swarm was huge. See, this is the region. So in India, they have entered to Rajasthan and Gujarat region and then entered into the central Indian region. So these are the grasslands that we just spoke about, Saheli lands, from there to there, from there to here. So the Locust Warning Organization said that these chemicals can be used as a pesticide to control the locusts. Then, let us understand what is this Indian Ocean dipole. Indian Ocean dipole has three phases: neutral phase, negative phase, and positive phase. Three phases. See, in the negative phase, here on the western side, cooler than normal temperatures maintains, and on this side, eastern side, warmer than normal. So when the air and water is warm, then more rainfall. Yes or no? Here, when the air is more cooler, rainfall would be less. That's called negative phase. Then what is positive phase in Indian Ocean dipole? Positive phase means this side warmer than normal, this side cooler than normal. So this side more rainfall. Now this is what is happening. Positive phase of Indian Ocean dipole, increase in the rainfall over Arabian Peninsula, East African region. That is leading to more rainfall over there and then impacting our agriculture because of the locust swarm, etc. This is the overall picture of desert locust. Please go through it once. This is the summary of what we have discussed till now. The next important disaster that is in news is chemical disaster. What is this? See, Vizag gas leak, Beirut, Lebanon, Beirut blast, and ammonium gas leak. So these are the three important disasters that are in news recently. Vishakhapatnam. In Vishakhapatnam, there is this polymer plant called LG Polymers. From that chemical plant, a gas called styrene gas was leaked. That has led to a huge disaster. Beirut. Beirut is a port city. It is a capital of Lebanon. There they were storing ammonium nitrate. And due to the heavy oxidization of ammonium nitrate, it has exploded. The place where they have stored, that place has exploded. It has led to many deaths and loss to the economy. Ammonium. Ammonia is a gas that has leaked in the agro industries. This is used in pesticide and fertilizer industry. So it has leaked in that particular place. It has led to many respiratory problems for the people who were working over there. Now let us read about them a little more detail. What is styrene? Styrene is a monomer. Styrene is a monomer which is used to manufacture the polymer like PVC pipes, water bottles, buckets, etc. These are all made from monomers. These are all polymers. These are made from monomers. Styrene is a monomer which is used for making polymers. Right, is it harmful? Yes, this is a harmful, but not as harmful as methyl isocyanide of Bhopal gas. That's more harmful. This is comparatively less harmful, but if we consider with other gases, it is harmful. It can lead to neurological diseases also. Please go through this once. Right, this is the summary of styrene monomer. Styrene is a liquid hydrocarbon. This is used for polymerization. Right, styrene gas, it has choked the city of Vizag and led to the deaths of few people. It is used to manufacture pipes, automobile parts, packaging, carpet baking, etc. Right? And what are the impacts of this? There are short-term impacts, long-term, yes or no? So respiratory diseases are one of the important respiratory diseases, neurological diseases. These are the two very important impacts of exposure to styrene gas. Next one is Beirut blast. Beirut, as we said, port city. This is adjacent to Mediterranean Sea on this side. So Beirut blasts have happened. Ammonium nitrate, they were storing in the godowns near the port. That has led to huge blasts and then associated damage. This is how ammonium nitrate looks like. These are the various incidents in which ammonium nitrate explosions have happened. Recently, this Beirut, before that in 2015, in China, Tianjin region, this same kind of blast has happened. That led to a huge scale disaster over there also. In India, we have Explosives Act. Under Explosives Act, we have ammonium nitrate storage, transport, manufacturing rules. These rules mandate the companies and the organizations handling this ammonium nitrate certain rules and guidelines. And where do we use this chemical ammonium nitrate? We use it in fertilizers. We use it in bombs, in making bombs. And there are other industrial applications for this, majorly fertilizers and explosives. These are the two important areas. The next important area of disaster is oil spill. Oil spills in news. Mauritius oil spill, Brazilian oil spill, Russian oil spill, Assam oil and gas leak. Right? Mauritius. Recently this has happened near the Mauritius coast, and the marine life in this region got impacted. We are going to look about it a little detail. Now let us see the four important ones and then we will go through each one of them. Brazilian oil spill, northeastern region. Russian oil spill, it has impacted the Arctic region. Very, very important. And in Assam, oil and gas leak has happened recently. The first one is Russian oil spill. See here, Russia. This is the Kara Sea, which links the Arctic Ocean. There is this particular place called Norilsk. From here, see, in this city, we have this particular location from where oil spill has happened. This has leaked into this particular river, and this river drained into Lake Payasino. River name is Ambaranya River. this Norilsk, this one, and then from there to Kharasi, Amaranya River, this region, Norilsk city, right? What is the reason then why this oil spill has happened? This is because of the melting of permafrost. So we are going to learn what is permafrost. This is considered one of the second largest oil leak in Russia's modern history. Now, what is permafrost? As the name suggests, permanent, frost, freezing. So, permanent frozen land, underland. See, this is the soil. And underneath we have ice. Or this is the ice that is permanently frozen. In general, we consider a particular ground which is frozen continuously for 2 or 3 years, 2 or more years as permafrost region. In Russia, 55%, remember, 55% of Russian territory, especially the Siberian region, is permafrost region only. What has happened in this case? Because of global warming, etc., this permafrost is melting away quickly. That is leading to instability in these particular areas. See, they have installed this company, and then because of the melting of permafrost, this has spilled like this. That is the reason for oil spill in this region. The next important oil spill is Brazilian oil spill. See, north and northeastern region, this entire region has experienced the oil spill. 30th August oil spill has happened. Over 1,000 tons of oil got spilled over here. It is considered one of the worst oil spills in Brazilian history because of the government action. The government didn't take the action at a proper time. That is the reason. The next important oil spill is Mauritius oil spill. Mauritius oil spill, it has endangered the coral reefs, seagrass, shallow waters, mangroves, fisheries, and other aquatic systems in this area. This is the Mauritius island. Here, oil spill has happened. Oil spill. So there's a fishing reserve, marine parks, etc. All are there, and this entire coast got exposed with this oil spill. There is this particular national park, marine park called Blue Bay Marine Park. This Blue Bay Marine Park is designated as Ramsar wetland, and nearby this marine park, this oil spill has happened. There are many species like pink pigeon, right? These are all the species that got impacted because of this oil spill. Very, very important. The next one is Assam Oil Spill. In Assam, what has happened? We have this Oil India Limited, OIL. It was drilling in this particular area, Tinsukia district. And suddenly there's a blowout. What is the meaning of this word? Blowout. In general, when we drill for either natural gas or oil, we estimate the pressure, ground pressure, and we extract it at a constant pressure. But suddenly, due to some regions, geological reasons, some regions, if pressure increases and suddenly it comes out, that is called as blowout. This has led to blowout and a huge blast in the area. And nearby there is this particular national park called Dibru-Shikowa National Park. But as there is a wetland or water body in between, the impact on this national park was less. Right? Dibru-Shikowa National Park in Assam. Nearby only this has happened. What is the reason? Blowout. Blowout of the oil and gas from this well is the reason. The next important disaster is biological disaster. COVID-19 is a biological disaster. I did not explain it in detail to you. Right? Please go through it once, because since last few months we are reading on it every day. So there can be any question. Any question can be asked from this. So please go through it carefully. And the last disaster in this session is Kozhikode Air Crash. In Kerala, this place called Kozhikode Air Crash has happened. The airport has this tabletop runway. What is the meaning of tabletop runway? In the mountainous regions, plateau regions, we have a specific area designated as the runway. On the other side, we have steep slopes. So that's why it is dangerous. These are called tabletop runways. We have tabletop runways. See here, Kozhikode, Mangalore, Shimla, Pakyong, Sikkim, and in Mizoram, Lengpi. So these areas have tabletop runways. Last few years back also we had an accident, same similar kind of accident in this kind of runway, and recently this one has happened in Kerala Kozhikode area. In this context, we need to know about this one, black box. What is this black box? Black box is this kind of orange box that is used to record the voice and the entire data. And it has two components. One is cockpit voice data recorder. Second one is flight data recorder. These two are there. Whenever there is an accident or some kind of damage has happened, they take this particular data and they analyze it. And this black box is made in such a way that this will not be damaged under any circumstances. Maybe air crash underwater. Whatever the circumstances might be, we can recover this black box and analyze the information. Right? Such facility will be there. And during this particular crash, they said we are going to analyze the data from the black box. That's why this is news. Right. This is about the 10 important disasters that are in news. If you have any queries, questions, do let us know in the comment section. The PDF of this session is available in the description box. Please go through it once. All the very best. Thank you very much.